Welcome back to Investing Talk podcast. We're here to take a deep dive into some of the most talked about companies and help you quickly get to the core of what's important. Today, we're tackling a question many of you have sent in. Is MRI Holdings, a significant player in the Bitcoin mining space, a good time to buy now? Before we unpack all the fascinating details from the sources, if you find this deep dive helpful, please consider subscribing, liking, and commenting. And if you really enjoy what we do, you can always buy us a coffee to support the show. Your engagement helps us bring more of these insights to you.
What's really interesting here is that MRA Holdings has gone through a huge transformation. It's become one of North America's largest Bitcoin mining companies. The current trading price is hovering around, what, $14.32? And our sources suggest it's really a mixed bag as an investment opportunity. Substantial upside potential, but also considerable risks. So there's definitely a lot to weigh up here.
Okay, let's unpack this some. We're looking at a company that's really aggressively chasing Bitcoin accumulation and expanding operations for long-term growth, but clearly facing some, let's call them near-term headwinds. So what do the financials tell us first? Where do we start with the numbers? Let's start with the big picture. We saw some truly, eye-popping financial performance numbers from MRO Holdings for 2024. Just how good were they?
Oh, they were exceptional in 2024. Total revenues increased a remarkable 69%. Yeah, 69% to $656.4 million from $387.5 million the year before. Profitability also surged. Net income hit $541.0 million. That's a 107% increase from $261.2 million in 2023. And their adjusted EBITDA, which kind of gives a clearer view of operational efficiency, well, that jumped to $1.23 billion from $417.1 million. Strong stuff.
Those numbers sound fantastic, really strong for 2024. But then Q1 2025 results show a very different picture, a net loss. What happened there? Was this just the halving effect?
That really raises the key question about the impact of these big market events. Q1 2025 definitely showed moderation. The company reported a net loss of $329.12 million on revenues of $705.06 million for the trailing 12 months. And yes, this shift directly reflects that April 2024 Bitcoin halving event, which, as you know, cut the block rewards right in half from 6.25 down to 3.125 Bitcoin. That fundamentally changes the economics overnight.
Right, the halving, a huge factor. So what does this all mean for their overall financial health then? How's their cash and debt situation looking right now?
Well, MERA Holdings maintained $208.2 million in cash and cash equivalents as of Q1 2025, which is a strength, gives them some cushion. However, the debt profile has expanded significantly. It's reached $2.6 billion. That results in a debt-to-equity ratio of almost 69.7%.
Right.
And as you connect this to the bigger picture, it really highlights a common challenge for these growth companies in capital-heavy sectors. Lots of leverage.
And they took on a lot of that new debt late last year, didn't they? Like over $1.5 billion.
That's right. The company completed major financing activities late in 2024. They issued $1 billion in convertible notes due 2030 and another $850 million in convertible notes due 2031. And those proceeds were primarily used, as you'd expect, to acquire more Bitcoin and also to refinance some existing debt. It funded the strategy.
Okay, moving beyond the raw numbers then. What are MRA Holdings' key advantages? I mean, it's a highly competitive Bitcoin mining sector out there. What makes them stand out or perhaps not?
They've definitely carved out a leading position through several key advantages. Scale is one. Their energized hash rate, basically their mining power, increased 115% in 2024. It went up to 53.2 EHs from 24.7 EHs in 2023. That's a massive jump. And they've also dramatically expanded their infrastructure. They acquired 5 operational data centers and grew their own portfolio from like 0 to 70 facilities. Huge build-out.
Wow, 0 to 70 facilities, that's quite something. And I remember reading something about their energy strategy too. That felt different.
It is. A key move was purchasing a wind farm to establish behind-the-meter operations, so they generate power right there, bypassing some grid costs. This can potentially extend the life of their mining equipment and, crucially, improve their cost structure over time. It's a smart hedge. Furthermore, their Bitcoin treasury holdings grew massively too, up 197% to nearly 45,000 Bitcoin by the end of 2024. Their Bitcoin yield for the year was about 61%. This whole strategy positions them to really benefit if Bitcoin's long-term trajectory is positive.
Okay, so they're growing fast, they're building out infrastructure, they're getting smarter on energy, and they're stacking Bitcoin. But when we look at their valuation, how does that translate for potential investors right now?
Well, MRA's valuation metrics. They present a bit of a complex picture. Traditional ratios, like the PE ratio, it ranges quite widely between about 21.5 and maybe 66.7, depending on how you calculate it. Their price to sales is around 7.1 times, and their price to book is 1.4 times. That PB is generally considered, reasonable for such a capital-intensive business.
And how do they stack up against their peers? Are they looking expensive or cheap compared to other miners?
Compared to others in the industry, the valuation seems mixed. It does trade at a premium on some metrics, suggesting the market might be pricing in some of that future growth already. But there's also potential upside based on analyst targets. The average target is around $19.25, which represents, about a 34% upside from current levels. So some analysts clearly see more room to run.
Let's shift gears now to the technical picture. Charts can sometimes give us a sense of near-term price action and sentiment. What are the charts telling us about MRA holdings right now?
The technical picture actually shows some concerning signals right now. The current price, around $14.32, is way down from its 52-week high of over 34 towners. And more technically, the 50-day moving average, that's at $15.20, is sitting below the 200-day moving average, which is at $16.30. That pattern is what traders call a death cross, and it usually indicates a pretty bearish trend, negative momentum.
A death cross? Yeah, that doesn't sound too positive. What about other indicators? And what are the key support and resistance levels traders might be watching?
Well, the Relative Strength Index, or RSI, is at 42.4, which is kind of neutral territory. But the AMCD indicator is below its signal line, and that also points to bearish momentum. Technical analysis suggests support, sort of a price floor, down in the $12 to $13 range based on recent lows. And resistance, where selling pressure might kick in, looks to be in the $16, $17 range, around those moving averages we mentioned. The overall technical rating for our sources is quite low, actually a 2 out of 10, indicating below average performance and negative recent evolution.
A 2 out of 10, okay, that's pretty weak technically. What about analyst sentiment overall and any recent news? Are the experts generally bullish or bearish?
It's really mixed sentiment from the analysts recently. The average recommendation from the 10 analysts covering the stock is actually hold. It shows that division. For instance, you've got JP Morgan with a neutral rating and a $19 target. Rosenblatt has a buy at $20. Barclays is equal weight at $16. But then Compass Point has a sell rating with a $9.50 target, while H.C. Wainwright has a buy with a high $28 target. So really all over the map.
A real spread there, covering pretty much every opinion. Any interesting insider activity or maybe corporate actions we should be aware of? Things happening behind the scenes?
Yeah, a couple of notable things. The CEO, Frederick Thiel, he sold about 55,000 shares back in May 2025 at $15 per share. Insider selling always gets noticed, though reasons vary. The company also switched auditors, moving from Markham LLP to PwC back in March 2025, and they established a pretty large $2 billion at-the-market offering program also in March. This lets them sell shares into the market over time to raise capital.
Okay, an ATM program. That could mean potential dilution down the road. And what about sort of the broader social media buzz or sentiment? Does alternative data tell us anything?
Well, the alternative data shows positive sentiment overall with a score of 71 out of 100, so still quite positive, although that score has declined a bit from recent highs. Still, MARA Holdings ranks in the 72nd percentile among its industry peers for investor sentiment. So despite some of the technicals and mixed analyst views, there seems to be a relatively decent level of positive feeling among maybe retail investors online.
All right, looking forward then, what are the key events or trends that could really move the needle for MARA Holdings, both near-term and longer-term catalysts?
Okay, for near-term catalysts, the big one is the Q2 2025 earnings report. That's expected around August 5th. It'll be critical for seeing that post-halving performance. How do they really manage? The annual general meeting is also coming up on June 26th, so maybe some strategic updates there. And of course, Bitcoin price movements themselves. They're absolutely crucial because the stock is so strongly correlated. A big Bitcoin move will likely drag MARA with it.
And thinking longer term, what are the opportunities that could really drive growth and maybe shift that sentiment more clearly positive?
Longer-term catalysts. Well, regulatory clarity is a big one. Things like right-to-mine laws popping up in various states could provide regulatory tailwinds. That helps the whole industry. The renewable energy initiatives like that wind farm could continue to improve their cost structure, making them more competitive. Continued data center acquisitions and just growing their capacity remain key for market share. And, maybe most importantly, broader institutional and even sovereign Bitcoin adoption. If big players or countries start buying Bitcoin seriously, that lifts the entire ecosystem, including miners like MARA.
So clear potential upsides there, definitely a growth story element. But let's be realistic, every investment carries risk. What are the major risk factors specifically for MRA holdings?
This is where you really need to understand the full picture. Stock-specific risks include that high debt burden we talked about. That nearly 70% debt-to-equity ratio creates significant financial leverage risk, makes them vulnerable. There's also the potential for share dilution from those convertible notes we mentioned if they convert to stock. And, that recent insider selling by the CEO might signal some management concerns, or maybe not, but it's a factor. Operationally, there's always the risk of mining equipment becoming obsolete as tech improves, and energy cost inflation is a constant threat too.
And beyond the company itself, what about the broader sector risks or even macroeconomic risks that could impact them?
Oh, sector-specific risks are huge here. Bitcoin volatility is just inherent. Its price swings directly impact MRI's revenue and profitability. Mining difficulty keeps increasing over time, which naturally squeezes profit margins for everyone. You have to keep getting more efficient. Rising energy costs are a constant battle, even with their own generation efforts. And that post-halving pressure, the reduced block rewards, continues to be a major headwind for revenue. Then you have macroeconomic risks. Potential crypto mining restrictions or environmental regulations are always a possibility. Interest rate sensitivity is high because of their debt, and general energy market volatility can impact grid stability and power prices. It's a complex environment.
So after looking at all these angles, the financials, the competitive edge, the technical, sentiment, catalysts, and all those risks, what's the overall investment recommendation for MRI holdings? Is it, at the end of the day, a good time to buy now?
Well, pulling it all together, the overall rating from our sources comes out as a 6 out of 10. So MER Holdings presents a moderate investment opportunity. There's significant potential upside, absolutely, driven by that 2024 performance and their Bitcoin strategy. But there are also substantial risks. High debt, the post-halving margin pressure, that technical weakness, they all create pretty strong near-term headwinds. It's really a tale of two sides.
A 6 out of 10 moderate opportunity. And for those listeners considering an entry point, what kind of price ranges might look more attractive, balancing that risk and reward?
For a more conservative entry, our sources suggest looking at the $12 to $13.50 range.
Yeah.
That's closer to those technical support levels we discussed earlier. An aggressive entry could be considered right around the current range, maybe $14 to $15 for investors who are maybe more bullish and willing to jump in now. The optimal entry, kind of splitting the difference, seems to be identified around $13 to $14.
And what kind of investor is this most suitable for? Is it more of a short-term play or a long-term hold?
It seems much more suitable as a long-term investment, or perhaps a moderate buy for patient investors, people who really believe in Bitcoin's long-term story and, importantly, can stomach significant volatility along the way. The company's infrastructure build-out and that Bitcoin treasury strategy should, theoretically, benefit from wider crypto adoption over time. For short-term trading, it's probably neutral at best. The high volatility and the current technical weakness make it pretty challenging, but are really only suitable for experienced traders who are very comfortable with these kinds of crypto-correlated assets.
And just quickly, for those experienced traders who might consider it, any specific guidance on risk management or maybe profit targets?
Risk management is absolutely crucial here. Position sizing needs to account for that high volatility. Probably no more than, say, 2–3% of a portfolio allocation for most investors, given the speculative nature and the debt concerns. For traders taking a position, a clear stop loss is suggested around $11.50, just below that key support level to limit potential losses. Take profit targets could be around $17 for a first target, maybe $20, which is near the analyst consensus, and perhaps an extended target of $23 if a more bullish scenario plays out.
It's certainly clear that while MRA Holdings offers some exciting potential, really driven by its strategic plays in Bitcoin mining and accumulation, it also comes bundled with a significant list of financial and market risks that demand very careful consideration from anyone looking at it.
It really highlights how even a company showing impressive growth figures can have these complex underlying dynamics, especially when it's tied so directly to the volatility and the sort of program economic shocks of an asset like Bitcoin. It's not just about MRA's own operations. It's about their deep exposure to the whole crypto market weather system.
So as you reflect on this deep dive, maybe consider this. How much are you willing to factor the broader trajectory of Bitcoin itself into your investment decisions for a company like MRA Holdings? It's not just about the company in isolation, but the entire dynamic and often unpredictable ecosystem it operates within, and ultimately your conviction in that larger narrative. We hope this look into MRA Holdings has given you a clearer picture. Until next time, stay well informed, and thank you for joining us on Investing Talk Podcast.